Sometimes it's about more than manifesting. You got to do the work. Welcome to the Keep It Uplifting podcast, where we discuss lifestyle, fitness, and motivation. I am your host, Uplifting, and I have with me the man behind the camera. Talk to the people.
What's good, folks? Be back.
We are back again with the book series. I wanted to share
New book.
New book. It's called Show Your Work, and it's by the author Austin Kleon.
That's all right.
It's by an author. Right.
He wrote that.
Right. So no, the book is actually it's more for, I think, creatives, as far as artists and writers. He's a writer himself, so he kind of talks from that space. But I like the book because it is the title is something that we used to have to do in math. You know what I mean?
Something we're all familiar with.
And
well, they still do it in math, but
right.
they do the new math. You know how to do new math?
No.
Sorry to change the subject.
Nah, how you do new math?
I don't know.
Right.
but you got to show your work, though.
But they make you show your work, right?
Yeah.
And showing your work is such an important thing, man. And when we was growing up, we hated it, right? Like, it's like, wow, like 4 + 5 is 9.
I know the answer.
I don't need to show you any sticks, right? But what this book talks about is actually documenting your journey allows people entry, and it allows them to build a community and connect with you on a different level.
Right.
And I think this applies to different things in life too, right? Like when you learn a new skill at work and it can be implemented across the country, across the company.
Yeah.
You should document that process.
Right.
I mean, it typically works in your favor, and it's something that can get you promoted, can get you more money.
Of course, if you got the original, then people can add on to it too.
Yeah. So, the first chapter, it talks about like how you don't have to be a genius, right? And it's really just alluding to the fact that you don't have to be Elon or any of these greatest minds ever, Albert Einstein type of people, because if you think that you have to be that in order to show people how you arrive at the final product, then it's only like 5 people who can actually do that.
Yeah, it ain't too many geniuses,
right?
Man. There ain't too many top of the classes.
So, that was cool from a perspective of, we often think that there's no value to showing people what we do, right? Like we were talking about math. There's no value to showing people how you got there. Mm-hmm. All that matters is the finished product.
Yeah.
But and then it even moves on to, documenting daily is something that will build validity to your mastery, right? Like people can,
like a journal.
Yeah, people can follow you along the way, and it's just something that's more valuable than the finished product itself, So, because sometimes your process and your showing your process, it allows people input.
Yeah, most definitely.
It allows them to tweak it for you or tell you like, hey, I've tried this and this works. And also allows you to educate others.
That's right. I mean, just showing your work just gives people the value of your thought process.
Right.
Because if you think about it, you may have had the right thought process and got to the finished product. Right. But it could have been done quicker, or it could have been done more efficiently. And then somebody else can come along and add to your process. Right. But as long as you get credit for the original process, I think that's what the author may be trying to get at when it comes to showing your work and showing validity. Right. You understand?
Yeah. And it allows people input. You know what I mean? Like Yo Gotti had just recently did that, where he let people put a verse on one of his songs, right?
Right.
And obviously he had an artist or something like that, but just allowing your community to be a part of your process connects them more to the work, right?
Yeah. And we learned that with democracy. So, yeah.
and that's what it was talking about as far as like opening yourself up to criticism, You know, one of the chapters in the book is learn to take a punch.
Ooh.
So don't open up processes that you're not ready for people to critique. Right. You know what I mean?
Most
so it's one of those things where it's saying, hey, share with the world what you want them to know, and don't share with them things that you want to keep hidden in your cabinet.
Most
you know what I mean?
You can't share everything.
Right. Right.
Okay.
But I just like this book because it really talks about being an amateur as well. You know? Like, attack everything at an amateur level and show that you're learning something new. Like, we all should be learning something new. That's kind of one of the keys to life, right?
Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave.
Right. You don't, if you master something, you move on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we talked about musicians, where most musicians, we were talking about the other night. Most musicians can play the keyboard, and then they go from the keyboard.
They can play every instrument through the keyboard, right?
Right. So then
that's why one of the first things is mastering the keyboard,
right? And once you master the keyboard, you're gonna pick up a guitar because you know the sound that you should be hearing, right? And you go from that to maybe bass or whatever else, right? So, but that's also growing yourself musically, you know?
Most definitely.
And I feel like that can be applied to life.
It can. It's funny that's a good analogy, because music is a process,
right?
You know,
right?
Like playing that guitar, playing that keyboard, the drum, the bass, whatever. You're following the same instructions, basically.
Yeah.
So you got the same guidelines, but you're playing different tunes. You're making different sounds. So that could be the real reason why show your work. And it's funny, the music business is one of those businesses where people can't even, we seen it in the famous Nick Cannon movie, right?
Yeah.
People could be great at their craft, but they can't read or write the sheet paper, you know?
Yeah, drumline. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because so if someone shows their work, this person can't even receive the work the proper way.
Right.
So that's part of the reason why you show your work as well.
I mean,
you could be educating others.
And that's crazy because it says teach what you know. That's actually a chapter in the book as well. It talks about obviously teaching what you know, but through your process, what kind of lessons learned is what you want to share with people. Like, hey, this is what I found out. Oh, when you mix these colors together and then you add this on, you can get this.
Most definitely.
And honestly, man, people want to see behind the curtain. Like, that was a part of this as well. Right. It's talking about, letting people back there, right? Like one of the documentaries that's popular right now is the Kanye documentary, right?
Yeah, man. You see the making.
Right. But you see the making of Kanye, right?
The making of a black billionaire.
Right. Who, like you said, like Kanye said, he can't read or write. Or he said he can't read well.
He can't read well. Well, he said he's definitely not good at math.
Right. So, for somebody who can achieve billionaire status through his creativity, right? And know that he is different, and him being different and challenging everything that we know, all the norms, is going to work, because you have to get outside of the norms of what works.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's also the part about teaching what you know, or letting people behind the curtain, is because they get to see what it takes to make things happen. I mean, that's why I always talk about us doing behind the scenes of becoming a full-time podcaster or full-time podcast, or doing documentaries for the other podcasts that we do as well. Yeah. Because people need to see. We didn't see that, and now we have access. Like, before, it was gatekeepers. Yeah. There are no gatekeepers anymore.
Not now, not with the internet.
You know what I mean?
With YouTube and IG.
So why not take people through it? Because the funny thing about it is, there's so many people who can tell you how to get rich. There's so many people who can tell you how to paint. So many people who can tell you how to draw, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And how many people still do it? Yeah. And I think there's value in showing your work, because that one person will be able to utilize what you've given them. Most definitely. And I remember doing an interview with somebody, and they were like, I don't like to share motivational stuff and stuff like that, because one, you don't want to seem like you're gloating, right? Like if you make $1 million and you don't want to tell nobody about your struggle and all of this, because they're gonna be like, yeah, whatever. But it's like letting someone may take that struggle and what it took to get to where you are and really utilize that information. Yeah, and man, that's the one person that I care about.
That's right, because there's a value in authenticity.
Right.
You know, when you said, like you said, once you pull back that curtain,
yeah,
you know it's real. It's
right.
It's not a screen.
Yeah. This is me.
This is real. Oh, this real?
Right.
That's what that curtain does. That's what showing your work does.
Yeah.
Letting you know that, you know, this came from an honest place.
Man, I wish I could have said it better. No, but it also talks about like selling out too, right? Mm-hmm. Like selling your work. Like an artist does need funding.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So it also it talks about like once you make it to a certain place, mm-hmm. understand that you're not selling out because you're now in this stratosphere. Mm-hmm. This is just who you are.
Most definitely.
You showed people how you got there.
Yeah.
So don't be ashamed of.
Exactly. And the artist can't sell his work unless he shows it.
Right. Exactly. Right. So
let people see it.
So this is more for people who are, you know, this book is just good for life in general, because how can your boss separate you from others? Right. How can you separate yourself from the pack? Mm-hmm. Right. And why would you hide secrets from the world? And along the way, when you're sharing certain things too, it talks about quoting the people that you may get certain quotes from, or if you get certain things from, make sure that you're properly giving these people that information to go and research that person on their own as well. Definitely. Because it takes nothing away from you. It helps them as well. You know what I mean? Showing your work is important. I mean, when we see, I saw this, it was a TikTok too. I saw this guy and his process of asking his wife to marry him. And, you know, I think it went from him getting the ring to him saying day 1 before I propose, day 2 before I propose, and then even taking you through the end of it. And I was like, damn, he did a lot. You know what I mean? Now, if she ever get upset, hey, baby, this is what happened for this.
Look at all I went through.
What you mad about?
Yeah.
I went through a lot for you.
Yeah.
I care for you.
She could make her think a couple more times.
You know what I mean? Showing your work is imperative to relationships.
Ooh, yes.
You know what I mean? Showing you, and that's not to make someone feel bad, but it's just to like, hey, if you ever doubt it, this is real. Yeah. And that's the key thing to showing your work, is letting people know if they ever doubt it, that this is real. Keep it uplifting. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Keep it uplifting.